Table always business. It depends on what town you're in. Supervisors, still, and I'll ask Supervisor Lennon to lead us in the pledge. That's pretty.
Of the United States of America. And
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Gene. Yes, go to do roll call.
Mr. Conover.
Here.
Mr. Leggett.
Here.
Mr. Diamond.
Here.
Mr. McDevitt.
Here.
Ms. Bramer. Here. Mr. Bruno.
Here.
Mr. Driscoll.
Here.
Mrs. Frazier. Here.
Yeah.
Mr. Grassi.
Here.
Ms. Hogan. Mr. Dickinson.
Here.
Mr. Merlino.
Here.
Mr. Stroud.
Yeah.
Mr. Wild. Mr. McGowan.
Here.
Ms. Seaver. Here. Mr. Beatty.
Here.
Mr. Thomas.
Here.
Ms. Runyon. Here. Chairman Garrity.
Here.
Quorum is established.
Okay. First, I'll open up the privilege of floor and any public comment before we start the budget presentation. Anybody? Seeing none? Well, now it's my privilege to turn the meeting over to our budget officer, Frank Thomas, who I think is going to deliver us another very good budget. And I know he works a lot of hours on the budget and he keeps a lot of the information in that notebook. So Frank, if you want to take over.
Last year. And you can always find it. Way over 76.
Good. Okay, good morning, everyone. I have a proposed 2023 budget. Before I get into that, I would like to extend a thank you to Chairman Garrity for the opportunity to be budget officer. I think this is my 10th time as budget officer. I find that completely amazing, actually, that I've actually done this 10 times. I also would like to extend thanks to Tammy DiLorenzo, Christy Miller, Jackie Figueroa, and Rob Lynch. Without those folks, I don't know if you would have a budget in front of you. I also would like to thank Administrator Leggett and Chairman Garrity for attending the majority of the budget meetings. I appreciate that. And also the chairs of the committees for attending budget meetings. And lastly, but not least, is to thank the department heads. There's a tremendous amount of work besides what they normally do to prepare their budgets. A lot of most cases, a lot of thought into their needs and requests and their challenges within each of their departments. This is like in addition to their many of their jobs are very difficult, providing needed services and keeping us safe and et cetera, taking care of our roads. But I'd like to extend a heartfelt thanks. And I always enjoy the budget meetings because I learn a considerable amount each time about the operations of Warren County. Because those are the folks that know how it works and what needs to be. On your desks is the budget officer's recommendations versus requests by department heads. The personnel request. The equalization and apportionment table. For 2023. And also a PowerPoint. That we'll get to here in a few minutes. This proposed 2023 budget has total appropriations of $184,036,264. That's up from $338,000 in 2020 this year in 2022. This budget remains under the tax cap. Our limit on the tax cap this year was 4.08%, which equated to $1,848,827 of possible increase before you go over the tax cap. The proposed levy is $48,605,788. It's an increase of 3.79%. Or $1,773,827. And that's over the levy of for 22, which was $46,831,961. Sales tax revenue for the proposed 2023 budget is at the 2021 actual amount, which is $64,978,027. This is an increase of $8,356,542 over 2022, which was $56,621,000. Currently, at the end of the third quarter of this year, we are approximately 10.2%, or approximately $5 million over the end of the third quarter in 2021. 52% of this revenue, the 65 million, is distributed to the towns in the city. 48% remains with the county, so it's approximately $4 million or $4,011,000. As everyone knows, since July, the board has authorized a $2.75 per hour, or $5,720 for each employee at Warren County. This equates to an annual expense of about $4.5 million in salaries and wages. It also causes increase in Social Security, Medicare expenses, and retirement costs. The retirement costs have increased by $457,000. It's not completely due to the salary increases. I think there was a rate increase also that by the state. I think everyone in here appreciates our county employees. I think we're very fortunate that we were able to provide that type of increase to everyone. It was definitely in our interest to retain our employees and also to help recruit and hire new employees, as we have many vacancies in DPW, DSS, and other departments. I will say that it made for a confusing budget time, because as we approved these pay raises, part of the budgets would have the increases, like the CSEA had the increases, but the non-unit didn't. So as you look through, you're looking at, you always had to be wondering what you were looking at and if the numbers were accurate. And I will again thank Tammy and Jackie for keeping me on the rails as far as looking at the right numbers. In 2022, the county borrowed $7.9 million. 6.2 million of that was earmarked for paving projects. And the remainder is to go to expense on a retaining wall in Bolton. The question can become, should we do a bond anticipation note or should we do a serial bond? And we opt, myself and the treasurer agreed, I agreed with the treasurer that we opted for the 5-year ban. And that produces a savings of $532,000 in interest cost if we had gone with serial bond. In the first payment starts in 2023 of $1,545,000. And that is within the DPW budget. The rate for 2023 is 1.47%. And over the course of 5 years, it becomes 2.03%. So it's an average rate of 1.89% over the 5 years. On the request versus budget officer recommendations, in the general fund, I reduced requests by $745,000. And I think on all these funds, I think the main tool was a 4-year look back. You know, to get like an average and see what the departments have spent in each code over that time period. And that's how I arrive at most of these numbers. In the D fund, the roads, I reduced by $114,656. The DM fund, which is the road machinery, I reduced that by $327,500. For a total, basically 0.4 and 0.2 reductions of $1,188,000. I also pushed the revenues in the general fund and in the road fund. And it ends up being about $701,000. I think there was some a grant that came in there that actually pushed that number up. I think in the sheriff's department. Mainly it was in the treasurer's office and also the county clerk's office. I think the total was I think 244,000 in revenues. Also, when you increase salaries and increase pay, this also generates a revenue, an increased revenue in the budget. And I believe that was around 580,000 or 586,000, mainly with DSS, Department of Social Services, public health. A lot of their stuff is 38%. DSS is 75%. OFA, there's some reimbursement there, and Countryside is a 50% reimbursement by the state. There's a savings of $255,000 in the health insurance expense. That continues to pay dividends to the county, as we'll see in the PowerPoint. And there's a very healthy reserve. Which so far we should, you know, knock on wood that we haven't had a bad year. But there's a healthy reserve to hopefully take care of that should it happen. Personnel requests. The 3 new sheriff's deputies that were authorized earlier this year are within this budget. The overall, the sheets, show a net decrease of $171,470. And this is primarily due to, the Health Services Department. I think overall, there's a lot of deletions. There's a few creations in the health services, but overall, I think there was about a $400,000 reduction in, personnel cost. And also, the probation department, there was, several, there's 3 or 4 vacant positions that, that the probation department, gave up, which amounted again to, probably $150,000. I also looked at, vacant funded positions. There's a lot of positions that are vacant, that have funding behind them. I didn't go crazy. I didn't get aggressive. I did take another RPN from public health. I unfunded engineer 1 in DPW. I also unfunded MEO light. There's currently several vacancies. So I guess if he fills all the vacancies, that could be a problem, but that's probably not going to happen. I also took money from 4 temporary laborer positions that hadn't been used in probably 3 or 4 years. There was also some creations. There's 4 or 5 job creations in DSS. Overall cost of the county of about $70,000. Commissioner Hanchett felt that that by having these additional positions, he could make his office perform better and get more training to his staff and help with the staff. There's a part-time position created in the Human Resources Department. Public Health again has a few creations. I think there's 3 or 4 positions that Janelle kind of rearranged her department as based on the needs and what she's experiencing. And there's also one in for countryside institutional aid, which again is 50% reimbursed by the state. I also created a position in building codes. However, it's unfunded. Hopefully in 2023, we will be able to fund that and we can hire someone. Charlie Wallace expressed the concern that all of his people in building codes are all getting around the same age, and that, you know, basically everybody's going to retire at the same time. And so that's an effort to create, you know, people for the future. The Board of Elections, I created 2 senior clerk election management techs. However, they are also unfunded, but they are in the budget now, and as soon as we can find some money, maybe we'll hire them. Their concern was that the state is going to mandate that by population of a county or a district, that they would have to have a certain number of people working in the Board of Elections office. So the positions are there. I guess when the law is passed, we'll at least have the positions on the budget. There's continued funding for the vehicle reserve at $642,000, and also for the for IT, the computer reserve at $154,000. Just a note, the IT budget is increasing in an effort to keep our people and hopefully be able to hire people. As everyone knows, this, you know, these days IT is like critical to our operation, to everybody's operation. And the expenses are for cybersecurity are increasing. Subscription rates and also the licensing costs are going up considerably all the while. I appropriated $100,000 to workforce development. As you know, Liza has made a couple of presentations, I believe, to the committee, the Economic Development Committee, requesting some funding. I believe this is an important thing that the county should put money into. I think the more people we can get into our workforce, maybe we can fill some vacant positions, not only at the county, but at all the businesses around the county, especially the tourism businesses and others. I increased the Economic Development Corporation funding by $50,000. I think their work on broadband, I think, showed that they really have a good effect on the county, and they do good work. While broadband's not 100%, I think they brought us to the forefront in the region, actually, by the data they collected and how they put it together and got it out there. Increased the LDC by 10,000. And the DM fund, the machinery replacement. This is the 230 code. They requested $1,519,000. Yeah, I cut that down to $1,219,000. I cut it down by 300,000. However, this is up from 803,000 in 2022. The 260 line, the other equipment, are kept the same at $59,000. Paving in the DPW budget is appropriated at $4 million. This consists of capital highway improvement funds, state aid. You have the capital highway improvement program. You have the extreme winter weather program, Pave New York program, and Pave Our Potholes program. Not sure why we have so many programs, whether they don't just put it all into one, but so that amounts to about 2.6 million. And the remaining 1.4 is county funds. The airport, the projects for local managed is funded at $175,000. And the main one is construction of the hangars. And also there's a project to replace the PAPI lights on the runway. Another section of that. Federal and state aid for highway and bridge projects program. The local match for that for 23 was funded at $742,750. These are projects that go through the metropolitan, the Glens Falls ATF, the metropolitan.
AGTF.
Right. And it takes years for these projects to get approved, to get on the tip sheet and get before us. So this is just ongoing match. It's usually funded by 80% federal dollars, 15% state, and this money is the 5% local match. The annual local bridge and culvert project program is funded at $515,000. There's increased funding for fuel. As everyone knows, the price of gas and diesel and electric has increased. Hopefully we have budgeted enough money to cover that going into next year. Also natural gas, heating oil, and mainly in the DPW and the sheriff and the buildings. Food is also increasing, so there's more money in the food line at the in the corrections budget. As a revenue for the sheriff's department and also DPW, I budgeted $100,000 of occupancy tax for overtime expenses and other expenses for events. And for DPW, I budgeted $25,000 as a revenue for the Bloom Festival. These numbers are lower than the department heads told me that it was, so I figured it was a good compromise in between. I also appropriated $25,000 of OCC tax to the Joseph Warren project. That's building number 11. The first phase of that is to construct to renovate the house and make it into a museum. I think the estimated cost is somewhere between $600,000 and $800,000, and my hope is that with the 25 that's already in there, and this 25, that's 50 roll over what we didn't spend this year. Maybe we'll have 60,000. Maybe we'll find a grant that needs a match, and we'll have the money. And plus, we can keep proceeding with the engineers and the architects. This budget has an increased general fund unappropriated surplus amount by $879,000 to a total of $1,879,000. It's been my experience that over the years, the departments and typically overall at the county leaves $1 million to $1.5 million that doesn't get spent. And then there's the vacant unfunded position. So there's, it's you can look at it several ways. As a point of interest, I would draw our attention to 2022 and the money that has been appropriated out of the general fund balance is currently just over $4 million. There's another 450,000, I believe, that's on tap for the next board meeting. I don't feel that any of this is frivolous. I think a lot of it was the interim pay from August to the end of the year, 1.6 million. There was 1.352 million to Countryside, to that project, which is progressing. I think that at the last board meeting, we awarded the bids. I think it was, I'll tell you here in a second. Was a total of $4,189,000. I believe that between the 1.352 million from the general fund balance, 950,000 from ARPA funding. And I believe there was another 300,000 that was appropriated maybe in 2021 that leveraged a grant money. I believe the project is came in under the engineer's estimate and is funded. So. So that's pretty much the highlights of the budget. I know that not everyone will be happy. That, it's hard to make everybody happy. I think I've made reasonable decisions. Hopefully, I've made smart decisions, given the circumstances that were presented. And I would ask for the board's support on this proposed budget. So. With that, I would ask if there's any questions, and I do want to do the PowerPoint. It's kind of redundant, but there's a couple of points in it. So, yes, Brad, Supervisor Gallon, sorry.
Thank you. Chief Budget Officer. Once again, a really good job. it's a lot, and I have learned a lot over the years of the county budget and how government does the budgets. My main concern is, I see a lot of directors getting raises, which totals about $98,908. And I know at the beginning of the year, we just went through a $5,700 increase in pay raises for out of union people. And I believe that the directors got that money too. And then I see some big creases here, and they kind of jump all over, and some I was aware of and some I weren't, but there's some big money sitting there. And then on top of that, I see that the chair and the budget officer are increased. So that puts us over another $100,000. Now, for the out of pocket net and the directors in that, isn't there at the beginning of the year an annual 2% or 3%?
No,
Isn't it an increase every year that employees get?
not, well, there is if you belong to a union.
Just on the union,
Right.
so the non-union don't get that automatically.
Not automatically, no.
Okay. All right, because these are some. It's amazing because we have a lot more directors out in there, but I'm just kind of amazed at the difference in the money that some of the directors get out of other people. And I know it's based on years of service and this and that and what they do, and you know how I feel about that. So I just want to notice. I mean, $100,000 is a lot of money to giving out huge raises right after everybody just got a $5,700 raise. So,
Yep.
I mean, that puts people over within the years. It's over $10,000 that they're getting. That's a hell of a raise. I wish I could get a couple dollars more an hour on my jobs. But times are tough. So thank you.
These are all requests from the department heads. A lot of them were for their members of their staff. I will say that nobody got what they asked for. So they actually asked for more than what you see.
So when I look at a particular one that says for director, that's not just for the director, that's for the director and their department.
No, if it says director, then it probably is for the director.
All right, so I didn't put in the increases. I just added up all the directors'
Okay,
salaries, which came out to $98,908. Then with the chair and the budget, which is $3,000 and $3,000, that puts us over $100,000. So I have some concerns with that, knowing that people just, especially all the directors and that, just got a $5,700 raise. So.
and
I know it's small potatoes. Sorry, and I know it's small potatoes because compared to the size of the budget, but that's just something I caught my eye because just seeing this for the first time, I just need to absorb it more and compare it to last year's.
No, none of it is small potatoes, so it's all dollars. Okay, well, if there's no other, yes, Supervisor Bramer.
I have a question, thanks. I skimmed through the presentation that we got today, and you say you're about to go through it, but I didn't
Yep.
see specifically outlined what you went through in your verbal presentation about the creation and deletion of positions. Can you just go through that one more time? I tried to keep track and it sounded like maybe 15 new positions. A couple of those were unfunded and only 4 deleted.
No, it's, if you look at this long sheet,
Uh-huh.
the personnel request. You can see what was either increased or deleted and created. I know Planning did a kind of a reorganization of their office. The unfunded positions that were created was with building codes and two with the Board of Elections. Again, probation deleted 5 probation officer trainees, a senior account clerk, and also deleted retiree sick leave.
Okay, I'll take a closer look at this. I do
Right.
see.
And if you look at, in a lot of departments, they'll create a position that'll cost, $4,000 or $5,000 more, and then they'll delete a position underneath it. So, it's like, it's not the full amount, it's the 5,000 difference or whatever the difference might be.
Okay, and I can see what my colleague was referring to about the increase in budget officer and the chair for
Yep.
3,000 each, and deleting, I will mention minority and majority leader.
But if you look under health services, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 RPNs that were deleted by the department, and again, I took another one, so that's 6. They also deleted a therapy program administrator, medical records coder. They decreased the public health server part-time hourly. A WIC position was deleted. But they did create 2 positions in the preventative program, but they also deleted another RPN in that program. And they deleted a CHN 10. They created an RPN. They decreased the disease control overtime. They increased the public health and disease per diem. So that was, they deleted one or reduced one and increased on others. And there's a couple more here too. Supervisor Seaver.
Thank you, Budget Officer Thomas. After your presentation, will we have an opportunity again to make comments or ask questions? Or is this the opportunity?
Sure.
I'd like to do that after I hear your presentation.
Okay. But all I have left for the presentation is the PowerPoint. And again, it's kind of redundant, but there is a couple of things in it that are different so I guess with that, can we do this?
Just a couple $100,000 off.
Goals of this budget, is to continue our compliance with the property tax cap. Hopefully responsibly invest in county resources and hopefully protect the county's long-term financial position. This proposed budget, the goal is to, again, to continue our compliance with the property tax cap. And again, the tax cap allows for a 4.08% increase, which is $1,848,000. Over the 2022 tax levy of $46,831,000. This proposed budget calls for a levy of $48,605,788. That's under the tax cap, and it represents a 3.79% or $1,773,827 increase from 2022. The proposed levy means the county tax rate will decrease by approximately 32 cents per $1,000 of assessed value to $3.50 58 cents per thousand. And again, this depends where you are and what your value and level of assessment is. So at 100%, this means a homeowner with $200,000 property would pay about $640 less next year. The reduced tax rate is an effort to stay well below the tax cap, or an effort to stay well below the tax cap reflects the sensitivity to economic conditions and of the general public, and also of COVID-19 on our taxpayers. Another goal of this proposed budget is to responsibly invest in the county resources. This proposed budget includes gross appropriations of $184 million. $184,036,264, which is an increase from the 2022 budget. That was had gross appropriations of $173,338,735. The majority of this increase of the 10.7 million is due to salary increases and retirement costs. Not exclusively, but additional investments proposed in this budget include enhanced cybersecurity, an improved recycling program, improvements at the county-owned adult home, and continued analysis of the Office for the Aging Meal Program to enable us to continue to provide the best services to our seniors. The next goal, protect the county's long-term financial position. There's been an appropriation of fund balance and increases by 879 million to $1,879,000. Again, funding of reserves for the capital investments, 642,000 for vehicles for the sheriff's department and all the departments. 154,000 for the computer reserve. I think these reserves over time have worked out very well, and we don't get wide swings and wide requests for either. This budget calls for effective planning to maintain major county public works infrastructure and keep these large costs predictable and affordable long into the future. There's an increased contingency appropriation of 1.5 million to cover anticipated additional personnel costs due to across the board salary increases, and this is for the sheriff's department. Within the contingent code, there's a subcode, and that's where this money is. And as the year goes on, it'll have to be transferred to the sheriff's department. The next page, road projects. In the 2022 budget, Warren County established a strategy, employed a strategy to establish a baseline within future budgets that will allow us to consistently maintain the 250 miles of county roads. In prior budgets, anywhere from 3 million to 3.5 million was appropriated for paving, unless I reduced it, and I did a few times. And the condition of the county roads continue to fall behind. Borrowing of the 7.9 million, 6.2 million dedicated to paving projects, along with 4 million in the 2022 budget, is intended to catch up the paving needs to a stable position. This strategy will continue in 2023. At the end of this season, approximately $8 million will have been spent on paving projects. In 2023, another 7 to 8 million will be appropriated and available. 4 million included in the 2023 budget, and the remainder of the borrowed money. At the end of the 2023 season, the 25 to 30 additional paving projects unaffordable before borrowing will be complete. In future budgets, $4 to $5 million investment consistently will enable the county to stay abreast of the paving needs. Establishing this baseline in a static world is great. But as we all know, we don't live in a static world. The inflated cost of oil will cut into this strategy as the cost of payment and diesel increase. This applies to everyone, everywhere. A request to the state increasing capital highway improvement funds and aid will be appropriate. And on the next page, we have the revenues and expenses side by side. You can see our revenues have increased since last year also, mainly a lot of it is sales tax. Property values. The county's full value tax base for 2022-23 is $13,579,821,375, which is an increase of $1,560,000,000, which is, to me, is astounding, because if you look back, it's usually, you know, 200,000 to 300,000 or million, I mean, increase each year. So I think that has a lot to do with the tax rate reducing as much as it has. The next sheet is significant revenues, sales tax collections, again, is budgeted at approximately 65 million, 64,978. State aid is increased to 19,463,608. Federal aid is up some to 12,725,500. The departmental income 12,155,000. Other income 14 million, approximately $15 million. And the next slide shows the increases. We have sales tax. There's an increase of 8,356,000. Occupancy tax revenue increase of 778,000. A state aid increase of 3.2 million, and a federal aid increase of 1.261 million. And the next graph gives you an idea of what the actual amounts of sales tax have been collected over from 2020 through 2022, and the proposed amount, and you can see it's proposed at 2021 actual. The next slide is the mortgage tax. This is one that I pushed back up to 2,350,000. The county clerk had it at 2,250,000. So, you know, that it needed the money. Hopefully it will be there. I think it will be. Next, we have items that are driving the appropriations. Increases and decreases. Wages is 4,381,000, and these are annual, will be annual costs. The health insurance is decreased by 255,000. Again, retirement is up estimated 458,000. Other payments and salaries 1,321,000, And then the last one is the debt payment on the road projects. For the 5-year ban is $1,544,772. Next, we have the health insurance. And that's a graph of actual and adopted. And looking at this graph over the last 4 years and back into 2019, our health insurance costs budgeted each year has ranged between 10.2 million and we'll call it 10.5. And I think that's very good for Warren County. I think that we can maintain health insurance costs within that $300,000 range each year. I think shows that becoming self-insured and working at that and keeping, and with the help of our broker, is a very good thing. And especially if you're outside of the self-insurance and you're community rated, each year it's, anywhere from 8 to 15% increase. So I think that's definitely going to pay dividends for the county. And again, we may have a bad year or we may have a bad 2 years with claims. That's always possible. But I think we have a very healthy reserve to get us through those times. And if we can maintain a consistent amount for health insurance, I think that's great. And in 2023, there's no rate increase either for the county or for the employees. Next is a graph about the retirement and the cost of the retirement. Again, when you increase salaries, the cost for retirement go up. The next page is fund balance appropriations. Again, it's $1,879,000 for the general fund. The county road fund is $385,000. The machinery fund is $180,000. Occupancy tax is $769,000. And the Westmount legacy cost is $201,457. Future priorities, continue to look for efficiencies that will reduce our costs and continue to provide quality services. Continue to look for revenue to offset expenses, keep the property tax in check, and control the use of surplus funds. Continue to plan for investments in Warren County's future, including infrastructure, economic development, and workforce development. Continue advocating for county taxpayers at the state capitol. And also continue to enhance county departments by adapting to new challenges and promoting good management. And the last sheet is the tax rates based on this proposed budget. And the equalized county tax rate is $3.58 per thousand. And you can go down the list, and it ranges from 32% or 32-cent decline to 7 or 8 cents per thousand increase. Again, that depends on the appropriated full value, and that longer sheet that's on your desk there will tell you that. That concludes my presentation. Any questions? All right, very good. Thank you.
I thought you were,
Oh, go ahead.
I apologize. I thought you were joking, like, oh, no question. Sorry. if you wouldn't mind, Budget Officer Thomas, my comments are within the time frame allotted under privilege of the floor, and I just ask that you give me a chance to share my thoughts.
Okay.
If you would permit that.
Sure.
These comments are intended only to share one supervisor's perspective, and with much respect for the time and the efforts of the employees that worked on this budget, the chairs of committees, as you've mentioned, our acting county administrator, of course, you, Supervisor Thomas, is the budget officer. I want to support your efforts, of course, and be a good partner and a good team player. But Queensberry is a significant piece of this puzzle with over 40% or about 44% of the population. I want to be able to say to my constituents that I've made an informed and educated decision today. Unfortunately, if I voted to accept this budget and pass it on for a public hearing, I would not be doing my job. I would not be a community advocate that has been well-informed, educated, and in a transparent format. I think it's very important that we all feel heard, and most importantly, that we remember that it is not our government. This is not our money as elected officials, but it's the people's, and we should protect their hard-earned dollar. That I agree, and I assume, Budget Officer, you would agree with. However, I did try to do my homework. I asked to review the tentative budget, the proposed budget, starting early this week, just days after you filed it. I was informed that I would have to wait till this morning, and already at first blush, I hope over a dozen questions, which I would love to be part of that process with. In fact, I watched the schedule closely and I recognized I couldn't make the one single budget meeting that you had. I understand there wasn't a quorum at your first meeting. I intended to be able, hopefully, to vote and participate or debate and participate under privilege of the floor from the airport, but unfortunately, we don't have that option in electronic access. This board decided not to do that. It makes it difficult not to be able to participate. But recognizing, even if I was here, chances of me asking any questions were slim to none, as it would be at privilege of the floor. Yesterday, we were told to trust the process by our acting county administrator, and he shared publicly that this system, as it was coined by the chair of the board, was the best and most efficient. Yet here today, only 12 counties still have this type of legislation and this type of board. Sitting here today, looking at our committee structure, why is it important when it comes to the budget? Well, only 12 of us are chairs of committees. If you count the chair of the board as an ex officio, that's 13. We need 1,002 weighted votes to even pass things like deleting of positions. At 2/3, we're looking at a significant number of 668 weighted votes. But if you combine all of our supervisors that are chairs, and you did thank them for coming to the budget meetings, that's 589 weighted votes. That means only 58% of our board were included in the budget process, a budget process that's millions and millions of taxpayer dollars. We didn't take this to committee. There wasn't a review after your single budget meeting. Whereas last year you had multiple meetings. We notified all supervisors on when those budget meetings would occur. And yesterday, just a request to send to a full board a decision on millions of dollars for the college was denied, saying trust the process. But it's here before us today with millions and millions of dollars without trusting the process, without going through committee. So it seems it's a convenient factor on whether we're going to apply that or not. My concern here is simply being able to be aware, be informed, and be educated prior to a vote. Now, I understand that I'm not privy to the same information because I don't sit on your leadership team, but I still am part of that 42% of the board that wasn't included in the budget. So here today, with all due respect, I will be abstaining from today's vote because I'm not in the position of saying to our public the perception that I agree with this budget, I support this budget. When it goes to a public hearing, it freezes. We all know how hard that is to make changes after the public hearing. Again, with all due respect, Mr. Budget Officer, I know you've worked very hard on this, but I do wish it was a more transparent and open process. And I do wish I could make today's vote informed and educated. Thank you for the opportunity to share my concerns.
Thank you. You have a question?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah. So I'm a slow guy. What is the net amount of additional positions we'll be adding for 2023? I'm a firm believer in smaller government, not bigger government. As Warren County has grown to, I believe, the second or third largest employer in the whole county, I'm very concerned that we keep growing and growing and growing. and the private sector seems to be shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And I see an imbalance there that just really is concerning to me. So do you have that? I don't know if you have that, Mr. Chairman, the net amount of additional jobs minus obviously the positions are being deleted. So what's the net? Do we have that or not?
I have it and you have it also.
Well, then please,
Okay, just hang on a second.
I am. I'm not going anywhere.
Good. Okay, well, we'll start with the district attorney. They deleted an office specialist, so that's one in the delete column. Turn to the next page. The county attorney's office. Basically, it's a wash. We deleted the special assistant and created the legal office coordinator. Human resources. We increased the hours for the part-time position, so you can say that we created a part-time position. So there's one for the create. Board of Elections, there's two positions that were created, both unfunded. IT, you have a create and a delete, and a create and a delete, and two increases. Probation, we have 6 positions deleted. Fire and building code, there's 1 position created that's unfunded. In civil defense, we created a deputy director, but we also deleted an emergency services coordinator. And we created an assistant emergency services coordinator and deleted an office specialist. Health services, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8, 9. 10. 8, 11. Health services, we have 11 deletions. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 creations. Social services, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 creations. Countryside adult home, we have 1 creation. Tourism. This is a continuation of the Lisa that does the books. So I wouldn't count that as a creation. It's just continuation. Up on the farm is really not a creation. It's an increase to the salary of $4,000. Planning, we have 1, 2. We have 3 deletions. One of them is kind of a wash. It was deleted out of one section of the planning department and put into another, so. But we'll just count them up. 1, 2, 3. We have three deletions, and we have 1, 2, 3 creations. The county road, there's a deleted engineer. There's an unfunded laborers, but they're not deletions. They're still within the budget. It just took the money away from the positions. And I think that's it. So we have 9, 20, we got 22 deletions. 5, 6, 7. 18 creations. So I guess there's a net 4.
The 11 deletions in the health department, I believe Janelle said a majority of them or a lot of them were due to the fact that we don't have these contact tracers anymore, I believe, if I remember from that committee meeting. So that was a vast, the pandemic quote is over, so that the majority of those were health related, I believe.
I don't know if that's accurate.
I
think-
can't remember. I'm just trying to remember. I was at that meeting. Yeah.
I think the operation of the health services department has changed.
Yeah, she's reorganized.
They're not getting as many referrals. It's hard to hire RPNs. And
Yeah.
they've gone to a lot of per diem, so.
Yeah. So we're going per diem. Okay. All right.
Supervisor Driscoll.
Thank you, Chairman. A majority of those 11 positions were nursing positions. The individuals who were contact tracers have been transferred into other departments where there were vacancies. So I guess those would be considered washes, in my opinion. I just wanted to make a comment. I think I've made it each of the previous 4 years that I've served in this board, as well as the 8 years that I had the opportunity to serve with Supervisor Diamond and Mayor Diamond on the Glens Falls Common Council. When I look at a budget, I'm not always just looking at numbers. Numbers are important, but I'm also looking at the words and page 3, if I can paraphrase a line in the budget office's proposal. A good budget is difficult to you make difficult decisions. Some of them are very unpopular, but you think them out, you work them out, and you go with that. And in the long run, generally, most of those decisions work out. But to enable us to continue to provide the best service to our residents, and I think that it's important that when we're looking at numbers, we're also looking at the fact that taxpayers want to be sure that all of the departments, whether they directly or indirectly access those during the course of the year, are the best quality, and that they can receive those services in a timely and efficient manner. They're getting their money's worth as far as the county is concerned, whether that's at DMV, any number of services over at the Human Service Building, paying their taxes, whatever it is. They want to be guaranteed that when they walk through the doors here, or email, or do business with us, that they're getting the best quality service, and that the initiatives that we're funding are good initiatives that are gonna benefit the county in the long run. So thank you for the opportunity just to make those comments.
Thank you. Yes, Supervisor Bramley.
Thank you. I do have a couple of questions and then one comment. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with the planning department. I'm sure that our director over there has some plans as to why they're moving all these positions around after we did some changes the last couple of years. So I won't question that at this time, but I do want to question why we are creating a new position for a construction cost coordinator. That doesn't really make any sense to me. And also in the tourism department, there was a lot of discussion about bringing someone back after they retired and creating a new position for them. I'm curious, I thought there was a position for that person. It was supposed to be deleted at the end of this year. Is that happening?
I think the position was deleted last year. Well, into this year. I think, basically it's to continue so that she can continue to do the accounting within the tourism department.
So she must be in a position now.
Yeah, I believe she is.
So are we deleting that?
No, we are not. We're let's see. I'm not sure, it's, maybe we've changed the title of the position.
It's a temporary position that expired at the end of this year. So the request from the department is for her to continue in her being status.
Did you get that?
I think so. A temporary position has expired.
At the end of this year?
Mhm.
And so now it becomes a per diem type position. That's why there's a creation.
Okay.
And the construction course coordinator was just moving from one.
Right. Yeah, the construction cost coordinator is basically going into the GIS program. Planning is kind of like made two different sides of the planning office. And he was on the one side and now he's on the other side. So it's, I don't know, he's moving his desk from one side of the room to the other. I'm not really sure.
Okay. Well, I guess before I leave this personnel sheet, I will mention again, I really find it bold that this is including an increase to the chair and the budget officer of 3,000 each after there was so much controversy and objections to other positions being funded at a similar amount. So I would ask that we remove that from the budget. And I would also ask that we actually see the budget. We didn't get the actual budget emailed to us. We didn't get this presentation emailed to us. I don't understand how I'm supposed to be able to review all of that information and send it to a public hearing. As was already mentioned, once it goes to the public hearing, it's going to be very hard to make any changes. So I think we should be having another, I appreciate this as a workshop of the full board on the budget before it goes forward, because we didn't have an opportunity to debate it prior. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we turn this back over to the chairman of the board.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Supervisor Thomas.
Again, thank you, Frank, for a fine job on a tough budget year, and I appreciate all the hard work you put in. Moving on, we'll have reading of resolutions.
Proposed resolutions numbers 577 through 600 were distributed to the Board of Supervisors and posted to the Warren County website on Tuesday, November 1st, 2022, meeting requirements of the rules of the board. There's also one proclamation before you. That's number 44. It's a proclamation of appreciation to the Fort William Henry for their Field of Flags event. There are two floor resolutions in your packets labeled as numbers 1 and 2. A motion is needed to bring each to the floor.
Need motion bring floor resolution 1 to the floor. Motion by Supervisor Dickinson, second by Supervisor Stroud. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
And then the motion to bring floor resolution number 2 to the floor.
Yes, we need a motion to bring floor resolution number 2. Motion by Supervisor Dickinson. Second by Supervisor McDevitt. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
One.
Opposed. Okay,
So floor resolution number 1 is now resolution 601 and floor resolution number 2 is 602. Resolution 602 is accepting the tentative budget, so that will be a roll call.
discussion and public comment on proposed resolutions. Any discussion on resolution? Supervisor Dickinson.
Is this appropriate time to ask to table any of these?
What's that?
I'd like to table some of the resolutions. Is this the appropriate time?
Does that mean? Yes,
I'd like to table resolution 582 and 584 through 599. As a co-chair of this ARPA committee, we would like some more time to revet some of these proposals, so I'm going to ask to have them tabled.
Did you say the numbers again, Bill?
are you tabling to go back to committee?
Yes, 582 and then 584 through 599.
582.
584.
584.
599.
Do we have a second?
Could I say that something before I second?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I think it's 584 that you want to keep in. Dennis,
Yeah, you said 583 and then 580.
582,
No,
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
no. It's 583 that I want to keep in.
582 and then 584 to 599.
Correct.
Okay, I will second that motion.
Motion by second by Supervisor Bramer. Any further discussion? Supervisor Bramer.
Thank you. I do appreciate the co-chair of the committee moving this forward to table it. I would ask that we table it to the next full board meeting, the November 18th meeting. And the reason that I've been asked to do to support the tabling to the next full board meeting is because the planning department is going through the process of making sure that we are doing all that we need to for the compliance purposes for ARPA funding for the in case we ever get federal audited, and they've been down a couple people. I won't get into details of all of that, but I think that we would all appreciate having that all lined up in front of us. I think the treasurer, the county attorney's office would like to have all of the information packaged up before we take votes on this. So I would appreciate tabling it to the next full board meeting. I don't believe it needs to go back to committee.
Supervisor Seaver.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was under the impression that if we were tabling or that discussion that took place, all of them would be tabled. And it seems like we're picking and choosing certain ones. Particularly, I know there were concerns with just making sure that all the documentation was in place before the vote with small businesses, but yet we've removed one of the small businesses. And as it relates to the EMS squads, the ones that are here, I thought that the committee had said that they would like further discussion on the EMS awards to look at EMSs in the entirety in coordination with the EMS council or special committee. So I would very much appreciate if we're going to table them, let's table them all and handle them all again at the same time, which was the initial thought, even the last meeting. I know we had people here that said they wanted to table just businesses from the last time because they wanted to do them all at the same time. But that was a situation of losing a quorum. I'm concerned here today that we're going to pick and choose, and I don't understand why we can't just table the full amount, all of them, to give every single one of these sufficient time.
Okay, we have a motion by Supervisor Dickinson and a second by Supervisor Bramer.
So the motion by Mr. Dickinson is to table these back to committee.
The motion by Supervisor Dickinson is table them back. Do you want to amend that motion?
I would like to amend it to go back to the full board.
That's fine with me.
Okay.
That's agreement. Okay. We- Did we vote on that one?
Was it all of them?
No, it's just the one
That's
that
the
they
motion you have on the floor, so that's what I would say, yes, your motion, voting on that one.
We have a motion on the floor. And then are you trying to amend that motion?
Well, if, but I highly doubt Supervisor from Lake George is gonna amend it, but I would appreciate it if we could table them all back and handle them all next board meeting.
Sounds a little prejudiced.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, let me speak to the chair. I don't mean to be discriminatory or prejudiced towards my friend from the Lake George region here. It's just simply that in the interest of consistency and past practice, if we could please consider a motion to amend that would include tabling all of the resolutions.
Okay,
I will second that motion to amend.
I don't quite understand. Don't we vote?
So, well, you have a motion on the floor, they can make a motion to amend that prior motion. If
Right.
there's a majority vote, then the prior motion is
Okay.
amended.
So you're making a motion to send them all back. So are we going to vote on that one, or do we have any other amendments to the motion? Supervisor Dickinson.
I object. This 583 is a time sensitive. We've vetted it out. We've discussed their situation. It's pretty straightforward. I don't know why they pull it out.
Okay. Discussion, Supervisor Bramer, you had your hand up.
Thank you very much. I understand there have been other ones that have been time sensitive. In fact, we've missed a couple of the events that people asked for ARPA money for. I really think that we need to stay consistent. I'm happy to support the EMS applications that came through today, but I'm also perfectly fine waiting till the next meeting. It's only 2 weeks from now. That's why I support the motion to amend the tabling motion. And I do want to put on the record that at the ARPA committee, we did talk about considering all of the EMSs together. I have reached out to the other EMS agencies who didn't submit applications, and the committee has asked us to look at sending that through the EMS committee. So I will be working with my colleague from Chester
Yeah.
on that particular item.
If I may, Mr. Chairman.
Well, we had Supervisor Seaver had her hand up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do agree with the supervisor from Lake George that many of these are sensitive. I'm not privy to the information on why this one isn't being asked to be tabled by the co-chair in the way all the other ones are. But if it's his desire and he's confident for 583 to stay in there, we're missing opportunities because we're taking so long to help businesses. They're closing. We're missing events and giving back money. So that they've applied for and been approved through the committee. I think this is a little selective. And again, I think there's got to be a better solution to this than just picking and choosing. But I'm hopeful that we can get this tabled and decided on within the next 2 weeks.
Okay. Any other discussions on the table that we'll vote on the motion to table them,
This is the motion.
all of them, for the next,
Well, this is the motion to amend the prior motion to table everything.
okay.
So you're voting on whether you want to amend the main motion.
We're voting on whether we want to amend the motion of Supervisor Dickinson. All right,
Ready?
I'm ready. We're
Ms. Ryan?
voice.
Yes. Mr. Conover?
Yes.
Mr. Leggett?
No.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt?
Yes.
Ms. Bramer?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Driscoll?
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Drossy?
Just confirm, please, if you would, this vote is not supporting Supervisor Dickinson's request to move these forward and just to remove some.
This is the motion that was made to amend Mr. Dickinson's motion to table all of the ARPA
I
resolutions.
don't know.
Right, Mr. Dickinson?
I may be mistaken, but I think my motion was overridden, and I think that Supervisor Seaver made the motion that was seconded by Supervisor Bramer.
That's right. This is the motion. They made a motion to amend your motion. So now we're voting on whether your motion is going to be amended or not.
No.
Mr. Merlino,
No.
Mr. Stroud,
No.
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Ms. Seaver,
Yes.
Mr. Beatty,
Yes.
Mr. Thomas,
No.
Mr. Garrett, Chairman Garrity.
No.
Okay, so there are 550 votes in favor, so that passes. So now the motion on the floor, that was, you just voted to amend it. So now you have to vote on the motion that was amended to table everything.
Okay,
So now we basically vote again.
roll call vote.
Okay.
This
Did
is,
you have a question, sir?
that was to pass the amendment. So now the motion on the floor, it's been amended to table everything
Table.
to the November 18th.
Okay.
Okay,
If I may.
Sure.
Just on discussion here, at the ARPA committee meeting, there was a suggestion to move the EMS requests to the EMS committee. The EMS committee was not designed to consider or work on ARPA committee things, and I would decline that as a committee chairman to not consider these items coming out of the ARPA committee. That is the duty of the ARPA committee and not the EMS committee that was designed to look at a county-wide EMS system.
Thank you. Supervisor Bramer.
I do want to clarify. I understand what my colleague is saying. I'm not sure. We'll have to take that information back to the committee, I believe, but these resolutions were passed through by the committee. And so I'm not supporting them going back to the committee. I'm just supporting the motion to table them for 2 weeks to be considered at the November 18th meeting.
Supervisor
with all-
Seaver
Thank you.
and Supervisor Dickinson. I don't want to lose anybody.
I will just say at the ARPA committee meeting, maybe we're all hearing different things when we're there, but in the same fashion that it was referred on septic initiatives to septic committee, it was with the hope that the EMS committee, and I would hope that you would check with your committee meetings before you decline that, but your members, it was the hope that we could provide a solution, not with ARPA dollars, but rather brainstorming ways that we as a county can support countywide EMS and support all of these other EMSs. So it wasn't the intention of the ARPA committee to say, let's allot $1 million the way they did mental health dollars. That was voted on and moved forward by an entire committee and then the board to do that. That wasn't the intent of ARPA. It was to think and act collectively as a board to try to address the need of EMS services and funding as it related to staffing in the ARPA committee. So just another perspective on that, Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Dickinson.
Well, I think it was a point not to ignore the EMS committee. I don't think it's crucial. It goes back to the EMS committee. I know that Lake George has been contacted by the co-chair about possibly submitting a proposal for ARPA. And I think most of the other EMSs have as well. So I think we're all right.
All right, then we're gonna vote Supervisor Molino.
Just real quick, then, is there a list of from the co-chair or chair who she spoke to on EMSs and fire departments? Do we submit?
Supervisor Bramer.
Thank you, Chairman. I got a list from our Director of Office of Emergency Services for the contact persons for all of those EMSs who did not submit an ARPA application already. And I believe I have reached out to all of them by email. So if they aren't sure, just have them email me or call.
Okay, let's vote. Voice vote.
This is on the motion to table all of the ARPA resolutions to the November 18th board meeting. Ms. Runyon,
No.
Mr. Conover,
Yes.
Mr. Leggett,
Yeah.
Mr. Diamond,
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt,
Yes.
Ms. Bramer,
Yes.
Mr. Bruno,
Yes.
Mr. Driscoll,
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier,
Yes.
Mr. Drossy,
No.
Mr. Dickinson,
No.
Mr. Merlino,
No.
Mr. Stroud,
No.
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Ms. Seaver,
Yes.
Mr. Beatty,
Yes.
Mr. Thomas,
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
No.
Okay, so that has 592 votes in favor, so the motion to table does pass. So all of those are tabled.
Okay. Any other discussion on resolutions? Supervisor Conover.
Yes, just, I'm not suggesting that, anything, was incorrect in terms of our rules, but, I would ask the parliamentarian in her spare time to check that when a motion is made and it's seconded, it wasn't withdrawn or amended by the person that made the motion or the second. It was amended by others. I'm not saying that's incorrect. I'm saying if you just would double check that.
Sure, that's allowed under Robert's Rules of Order. I can get that section for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, no other discussion on resolutions. Let's vote on yes, Supervisor C or Bramer.
We'll add that to the tally. I do have a request to amend the budget. Are we entertaining those requests now or no?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
I would like to make a motion that we delete the salary increases for the chair and the budget officer.
We have that's for amend the budget.
Yes.
Okay,
Second, do you need a
do
second?
we have a second? Supervisor Seaver. Discussion.
Yes,
Supervisor Leggett.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. Working side by side with the budget officer through this whole process. I witness all the time that goes into pulling together this budget, and it is an incredible amount of time. And I think that the modest budget increase that was put in there is just that, a modest increase. It does not reflect the time and the effort that is put in by the individual that is responsible for pulling together this budget. And I would support that it stay at least what was proposed. I was thinking even increasing it a couple more. If we remember that last year, there was a majority leader and a minority leader, each got $6,000. That's $12,000 for a position that we were unsure of what it really did. We know what the budget officer does, and I think it was underfunded, and I think it should be worth at least $12,000 and not $9,000.
Okay, we have a motion second. Any other discussion? Supervisor Seaver.
Thank you. Thank you to Hamilton County Administrator for reminding me of that wonderful year of hearing about the salaries every single month. So I do find it ironic that here today, in 2021, we complied with the law. And I do want to, of course, commend the budget officer for complying with the law for not creating a stipend for a vice chair or finance chair position, recognizing the work that goes into that, but the law doesn't allow it. So here today, when you're looking at giving yourselves raises, $3,000 each, I think that is very, very ironic, but I also think it's incredibly unfair to our taxpayers and to the employees that have come here. They've asked for raises. Many of them are not working with their years of services. Many of them did not get the raises that they wanted. And that's life. That's what happens. We try to balance this. But we are the leaders. We are elected. And frankly, giving yourselves each $3,000 is a failure in leadership. And I'm very disappointed to see this. Thank you.
Any other discussions? Supervisor.
I'm more than happy to vote for the increases. They're well deserved, and I support them 100%.
Okay, then we'll do a vote.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Supervisor Leggett.
I proposed last year to eliminate the funding for the finance chair. Finance chair used to get $6,000 or more. I'm serving here with no money as finance chair. The argument before was that, well, they do a lot of incredible more work than any other chair. That's not true. Every chair does an incredible amount of work. So I'm serving here $6,000 less than anybody else, first chair of the finance committee to not get any stipend. I'm also sitting here as acting county administrator, something that before I would earn $20,000 a month with no ask for this. So on this about giving wages and wage increases, this is a modest increase for a huge job, somebody that does deserve the money. I would appreciate your support for the budget as it is proposed.
Okay, let's vote.
I had a comment.
Supervisor Beatty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just for the record, last year's finance chair didn't receive a penny either, so you're not the first one. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, can we vote? Roll call vote.
Okay.
And you want to state what we're doing?
Yeah, this is a motion to amend the tentative budget to remove the salary increases for the budget officer and the chair.
Okay.
Ms. Runyon,
No.
Mr. Conover,
No.
Mr. Leggett,
No.
Mr. Diamond,
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt, Ms. Bramer,
Yes.
Mr. Bruno,
No.
Mr. Driscoll,
No.
Mrs. Frazier,
No.
Mr. Drossy,
No.
Mr. Dickinson,
No.
Mr. Merlino,
No.
Mr. Stroud,
No.
Mr. McGowan,
No.
Ms. Seaver,
Yes.
Mr. Beatty,
Yes.
Mr. Thomas,
Well, I guess I'll say no, but either way, no.
Chairman Garrity.
No.
Okay, that motion fails. There are only 274 votes in favor.
So we vote on resolutions?
If you're done with discussion.
Are we all done with discussion on any resolutions? Okay. I guess we'll vote. What are we voting on now?
The only resolution require for a roll call is 602, and that's accepting the tentative budget, providing appropriations for the conduct of county business for the fiscal year 2023.
Okay, let's vote.
Ms. Runyon,
Yes.
Mr. Conover,
Yeah.
Mr. Leggett,
Yes.
Mr. Diamond,
Yeah.
Mr. McDevitt.
Yes.
Ms. Bramer,
No.
Mr. Bruno,
Yes.
Mr. Driscoll,
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier,
Yes.
Mr. Drossy,
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson,
Yes.
Mr. Merlino,
Yes.
Mr. Stroud,
Yes.
Mr. McGowan,
No.
Ms. Seaver,
Abstain.
Mr. Beatty,
Seeing this for the first time, I can't make a vote, so I'm gonna have to abstain. I haven't had time to go over it. It's the first time I've seen it.
Mr. Thomas,
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
Yes.
Okay, so there are 556 votes in favor, so that passes. You need a collective on the, well, you need a, yeah, collective on the rest. There's just a department one outside, so.
All those in favor of the rest of the resolutions signify by saying yes.
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 Opposed? Carry. Any other public comment? Any announcements? Motion to adjourn. Supervisor Dickinson, second by Supervisor Frazier. Thank you all.